right, ladies and gentlemen, now the moment we've all been waiting for. Get your phones out because it's history. It's his first official appearance as the brand new NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. Please give a warm welcome, Cody Rhodes! And his special guest, Pharaoh!
I like the boots. Where'd you get that gimmick? The boots.
Oh, the boots. I think you know.
Yeah, I know. Are they made with the Austin Hall Boot Company?
Oh man, a lot of people don't know this. On the side of my tights, they think it's a phoenix design, like a phoenix. It's the Austin Hall Eagle, and you could tell that. I say all the time, "Oh, it's the Austin Hall Eagle," and it's not. Many folks who do know what it is. The Austin Hall boots, you tell them, man.
Austin Hall boots are they're boot makers that made a lot of the boys' boots, but none more famous than the Dream. So all those cowboy wrestling boots he had, and all those guys that wore it, Barry Windham wore them back in those days. Some
Barry, Dustin.
Yeah, a lot of guys. But Dusty started that whole thing, and that was good stuff. Austin Hall Boot Company. Look them up sometime. Google them, kids.
They were just boots with flat soles, right? And a little more comfortable for wrestling in, I guess.
So how do you feel today?
Oh, I was doing a podcast earlier, and the best way I could describe it is I didn't get a chance to sleep, and I went right to Gorilla after my match, and I directed and timed the last half of the show, and not the best timer if judging by the main event time, but I'm learning. But I didn't get that moment I didn't get many moments. It was just happening so fast. But the thing I remember and how I feel right now is the same way I felt last night. I don't want this weekend to be over. You know, this has been so much fun, right? Did you guys have fun? Yeah. Just wanted to be over, you know.
You know, after the smoke clears, as they say, down the Alamo, people are going to be wondering, when's the next one? It's always the same deal. And of course, here's the thing about back in the, I see these Tony Gurria stories. Back in my day, the sheep were afraid of me. No, it's a New Zealand thing.
What a set of hair on Tony Gurria, by the way.
What's that?
His hair.
Oh, yeah.
What a set of hair.
It's on steroids.
Oh, God.
He's got steroid hair. Anyway, back in my day, I'm just saying that when we were doing Raw every week, and in the 83 weeks that we're getting our ass kicked by WCW, it was like you get the ratings by noon on Tuesday, and that's the last time you talk about Monday. Everything was looking forward. So I go to the TV and talk to the guys. We're going to turn this thing around. Because the boys in both companies are shooting the breeze with each other. And the WCW guys are laying it in to the WWE guys because we're beating your ass on the ratings. So you just got to keep chopping wood. So you had no time to enjoy it. And then when we have a great rating, it's the same story. It's the same scenario. Well, Tuesday, you got to start thinking about the next show. So you got 24 hours to celebrate. So I'm telling you, from my personal experience, you got about 24 hours, maybe 48 of a little bit of clemency. And then the pressure's going to be on. We got to start planning. I promise you that's what's going to happen to you. Because you can't help it. It's in your blood.
Well, maybe we already started planning.
What did you, looking back, thinking about this event, what did you learn the most about, put it in the context of promoting an event of this nature? What did you learn the most about? Time management, budgeting, what?
It's probably time management. To come at it from the standpoint of competitor, performer, and then producing it, I had to I kept writing these lists. My dad was a big list guy, and I've become a big list guy too. I kept writing these lists of these are the things you need to do to make sure you're in peak condition, and then to make sure you're also in peak mental state, and to make sure you paid this guy and talked to this guy. I also learned I wanted to do every single thing with this show. I wanted to do payroll. I wanted to know elements of the production. I wanted to know how many chairs were in the union catering room. Just next time, I don't need to know all that stuff. I learned that you're only as good as the team around you, and we've discovered some new teammates over the course of this weekend. I'll give you a good example. Atlas Security is unreal. Whew. Those guys they were utility men. They were not just security, but they handled things that needed to be handled when we couldn't. And just, I mean, something as simple as, how do we get Magnum through the crowd to greet his daughter at the bottom of the steps? And how do we get that moment? And they knew what to do. And so we picked up some teammates, some good teammates.
You hit the nail on the head about the crew around you. Everybody's got to have that's why in every major change of administrations, whether it be politics, which we're not going to talk about here today, and that was it, by the way. If you're looking for politics, you just got it, at least while I'm up here. But you find that people gravitate to those they can trust, but at some point in time, when you start out, it's kind of the guys you like to be around, and he's got a good head for the business. Then it's like, well, I know, but I also not can trust him. But at the end of the day, when you fold the laundry, did the person produce? Did they deliver? Did they do their job? And I know from working with Dusty's dad so many years, he used to give me copies of his book to write TV off of. The format, the official format. He's already done the creator's done. And people said, I didn't know Dusty could write in kayfabe. I said, what? Well, I was looking at your on your desk. You got a that's Dusty's writing, right? I said, first of all, what were you doing looking at my desk? And secondly, yes, that was Dusty's writing. He said, I didn't know he could write in kayfabe, because sometimes he'd write in cursive, and sometimes he'd write with in whatever, and then all little deals and that. His personality is all over his writing and his pencil. Think about how that worked out. I loved it. So he was, but I see that whole thing here with you guys. You're going to have to. I can't wait till what's going to come next, and I'd like to be a part of what comes next at some point in time.
Absolutely. It's funny thinking about his writing. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen anything. I have some of his booking journals. We were talking about, me and Conrad were talking about what's in these booking journals, and for a guy who got thrown out of like 4 colleges, he has this like unbelievably eloquent handwriting, and I don't know where I didn't get it. None of the others got it, but yeah, it's really crazy when you think about how just he was a vision guy.
I have an answer to that question.
Yeah?
Yeah. I've asked him that question. And once you get him rolling, he would say, I always want to be a star, baby. So I practiced signing my autograph. As a young guy, he would sign his name because he knew somewhere down the road, something told him he was going to be the American dream of some shape, form, fashion, name, whatever. That was the whole deal. And I'll tell you, not nearly at his level, I had the same deal. I wanted to get off that damn farm so bad in Oklahoma, and I loved the wrestling, and wrestling was gifted to me by my dad. If I did all my homework and did my chores on the farm, I got to watch an hour of wrestling. That's all was on. So I knew I wanted to leave. I didn't want to be Jed Clempett's, illegitimate cousin. So I practiced signing my name. I did it for years. When I was a kid, not having a clue where it was going to go. But Dusty's deal was definitely, he knew he was going to be a star, and a star has to have a great signature, if you will.
Kenny, I don't know if you guys heard Kenny Omega say, if you will, last night in the ring. He really committed to it, because we didn't have anything at the end of the night. One of my favorite things was the whole reason this came about. Some of you have heard this, but the idea for, I think we can do a bigger show, a bigger building, just came from doing 1,200 900-seat stage AE, small, intimate settings. And what was happening at the end of every night, everyone was staying and nobody was leaving. So we would do just bits and comedy and something to send them home happy. And it became a big focus. Like, yeah, that's great, last segment, but how are we sending them home happy? And that was such a touching thing last night to see 10,451 people happy and staying in the arena, and just really it just eye-opening for perhaps what we can do now.
What's the future in your view? It's in your hands, literally, the NWA title. Is there a short-term goal for the organization? And, I know Billy's done a great job of bringing life to this. He brought it back. And I think that's great, because this is not easy to regenerate something that was really hot at one time, and then all of a sudden, whatever happened to that NWA title thing? It used to be that was what everybody tipped. If you're a wrestling fan, when I was a kid, and when a lot of you were kids that are younger, that was the deal. That was because that champion traveled the world. That champion went to all the territories. It wasn't a regional territory like the WWF title. And I'm not belittling Bruno whatsoever. I love Bruno. I wish the wrestling business had more people as honorable as him in it today. But what's the future of this, Cody? What do you want to do with it?
Well, I want to continue the path of the traveling champion. That's kind of what I grew up on, the type of wrestling I liked, even though it's a generation prior to me. When I go back and look at, what Flair was able to do, what Jack Briscoe was able to do, their date book alone, and not just, I did it, but I did it and it was the best thing of the night. Like, I did it with consistency. But I have, it rubs some people the wrong way, and that's fine. I think most people enjoy it. I don't really believe in the politics of wrestling anymore. I understand if this isn't your company's title, but if you're asking me to come wrestle for your company, I'm wearing the damn title. There's no... right? It takes an organization, it does, to facilitate and get that ring set up, and it takes a crew to tighten those ropes. But a big focus last night was like, this is a wrestling show by wrestlers. And yeah, there's some things we could have learned from a company standpoint, an organizational standpoint, but that's how I go into everything I do. When I go into Long Beach to wrestle Juice Robinson for the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship, I'll be wearing this too. I'm taking it everywhere I go, and I'm excited to do that.
I'm looking forward to that Long Beach event, by the way. I'm glad you brought it up. I think it's going to be, I'm going to work Kevin Kelly in that show, because Josh Barnett's going to be in Japan, ironically. One of his fighters is fighting Bob Sapp. Remember Bob Sapp, you guys? And it's something at Saitama Super Arena. So Josh had a conflict, but I'm looking forward to working with Kevin. Kevin will do a great job, and I've worked with him a lot of times at WWE and before. And he knows infinitely more about, for those of you that send me your hate tweets, he knows infinitely more about New Japan than I. Fully transparent here. But it doesn't, to me, that's not what's going to make the storytelling work. It's going to be what music they produce, and the lyric that I give that music that I hear. I got to hear their music. I got to feel their music. I got to experience their music. It's got to move me to give you a lyric or a sound bite. Everybody. I understand everything can't be for the love of God, he's dead, or whatever I said about Mick. You guys know those lines better than I do. So, but that's the deal, man. This is going to be a great card there. And Juice is a kid that's coming up. He has no excuse not to have a great match with Cody. No excuse. And when you get a guy in that position on national television that's finally getting his opportunity to be a player, what have you always wanted to be, Juice? I want to be a player. I want to be a man of that guy. I want to make more money. Great. We're all for all those things. So here's a match. You can start that. And he had a good match with in the Cow Palace, I thought. He's improved a hell of a lot.
They had a great match in the Cow Palace, and they Juice is
Good hand.
Juice is one of those, I guess, bet on yourself types. If you know the tale of Juice Robinson, I mean, not only did he leave the developmental system, he went an incredibly difficult path, a path he didn't have to go with the Young Lions path. And the Young Lions produce, if you look at the veteran talent on New Japan, all of them have been Young Lions. What a great model system that it seems like it's too difficult to adapt to American style, but there's definitely a lot to learn from it, and it's one of my favorite parts when you go over there. The respect level is through the roof. Actually, this is funny. One of the Young Lions, he has an identical twin, and so I see him backstage in Tokyo, and then I go. I just was in Vancouver. I got to film 5 episodes of Arrow this season, and then I see him again in the fictional prison yard doing pull-ups, and I thought, oh, I've been traveling too long. I know him. He's a Young Lion. He couldn't be here. I went over to him. It's such a small world. That's his twin brother. Yeah. So now I got to take care of that guy. Got to take care of him. Yeah. So that's a great system. And Juice is what's a Wrestle Kingdom rematch for him and I. And I understand there's a big difference between last night was the most I've been in arenas with 80-something thousand people, but 80-something thousand people weren't cheering for me. Last night was the most connected I've ever been to you guys. And but I know in Long Beach, because I have a pretty bad track record in Long Beach, I'm fully expecting to be booed out of the building in Long Beach, and that's our relationship. I'm okay with it, but it's going to be a really good show.
I just hope they connect the security railing. I don't have to eat that again. Hey, here's what's funny. You know, we think a lot of our friends and people we read about, and a lot of us have been reading about these the dirt sheets and down online. Some of the most successful and brightest guys in that world thought that bump, that whole spot was a work. It was a work. And I'll just give you, I responded to one of them with this: "Are you shitting me?" So hopefully they'll hook off all the security railings, because at some point the boys have got to also understand that doing it to me was one thing, because I'm not going to sue anybody, but somebody else is going to call 1-800-LAWYER and sue your ass. It's the way of the world, folks. So the talents have got to be respectful of the promotion, and so maybe that needs to be addressed. But last night, man, the thing about this show last night, it took my breath when I got into to Conrad's suite, and all the goddamn food was gone. Everything. I found a bun. I had a bun, relish, and mustard sandwich. What the hell's that? But here's what I did see. Here's what that warmed my heart. It should be a magnificent picture that you guys should, if you get a chance, you should have it. And that is the look of from up high, the complete oval, and seeing not one empty chair. Not one empty chair. Looking at ringside, how orderly the chairs were, how everything made rows. Old school wrestling set up. And the crowd was just, you guys look great there. So I'm thinking, man, the only other time I saw a picture like that moved me was my first day on the job working for Leroy McGurk and the Big Cowboy. And they had a picture in the Tulsa Civic Center. It was a big building at the time, held about 8,000, 9,000. And the match, the referee who would train me, Leo Voss, was in the ring with the Kentuckians, Grizzly Smith, Jake the Snake's dad, and Luke Brown, big Kentuckians, big full beards. You know, they looked like they were always ready for their, lumberjack rules match, the plaid coats and all that crap, against the Assassins. And I will tell you to this very day, if you get a chance, go back and look at some old tape. Look at how the Assassins gained eye contact on interviews and what they were looking at. They were looking at you and you and you. It was scary. how good they were. And I don't know if they even realized how good they were. But they sold out that arena. The first time the arena had ever been sold out. And here's the Kentuckians, the old school, and the Assassins, and the referee in the middle. And they're not posing, they're doing business. And I was so struck by that picture, because you always start looking at what people are wearing. And here, everybody's going to wear pretty much a black T-shirt, but have a few tattoos. I ain't got any tattoos today, so I'm kind of behind. But I love that picture. The crowd shot is something that we all should have a piece of. That's a great memento, and because you've made history. You made history. And here's the great thing about it. If we all live long enough, guess what? We get a chance to make history again. You can't get too much good stuff in your life, folks, I'm telling you. And this is good stuff. So, did anybody play bigger than you knew they'd played big, but they played bigger last night than you envisioned? Pleasantly surprised. I know this guy's going to be good, but he went above and beyond.
I thought the opening match, MJF, really stood out as somebody, like, he just really stood out as, I don't know, I don't feel like I'm ever in a position to say, like, he's got it. But it felt like one of those, like, hey, there's something.
Yeah.
There's something there. And if we're talking about planning or whatever, but literally just in your mind, if you're like, all right, what's the card if you do it again? I was thinking, well, if he's available, that's special. And that was cool to me because he's a young person, a young kid, an upstart. That's really important to have on an event like that. Same with, I got to see Austin Gunn. I got to see Billy Gunn's son in the ring. With it's just little moments like that. Marco's stunt. Did you guys, Marco? Oh, JR, you seen Marco's stunt?
No, I didn't get here until the last three matches.
That battle royal was one of the most fun battle royals. Oh man, so fun.
And they can be such a disaster.
They can, and I held a little meeting, and I didn't give many guidelines, but we had an idea of what we wanted to have these moments, and I feel like not only did they hit the moments we wanted, they hit moments we didn't know we wanted. Jordan Grace fit right in, man. Just an ass kicker in there. She did so great. But I got to watch the whole show. I did prior to mine. We were getting ready, and then I did the latter half of the show. And I was. I gotta tomorrow. I think I'm just gonna watch it with actually Matt and Nick, if they're not tired of wrestling at this point, and
that can
watch
happen.
it.
Yeah, that can happen. Well, while you're watching, you're going to be planning. There's an idea come out. We should do this better next time, or let's don't do that again, or whatever it may be.
Yes, sir.
I just said earlier before you got here that this was almost like an experiment. It was a calculated risk. Wrestling promoters have been playing the calculated risk card since I was a pup. That's a long time. And they're going to continue to play calculated risk. The only thing that's not a calculated risk now is selling out WrestleMania. That's almost, I don't know if you didn't have to name a match. You're going to sell all the tickets. So you hope that when the brand of All In comes back in your radar, that you respond in kind, even if you can't make it to that city, or where it's maybe here, I don't know, but I don't know anything about that. But wherever, if you can't make the live events and all the things going on, you can watch it on the Fight app. Well, that was a hell of a deal. Did anybody get any feedback on the Fight app, how that went? I know it did real well number-wise, which I'm very happy.
It did extremely, extremely well. They had a number in mind, and from what I understand, you guys beat that number by 10 times. I'm not at liberty to give away the number, but there are a lot of zeros involved there.
Good.
It was Mike Weber from the Fight, the whole Fight team. We had a discussion earlier in the week, and that's where he got the number. And then I was very pleased. That was actually one of the only things feedback we got at dinner last night was, hey, we know this. Yeah, this worked that way, and yeah, man.
The longer you get in this, you'll go to that number first.
Right.
What do you think of the card? How do we do? No, what do you think of the matches? How do we do? It's all about how we did.
Right.
Yeah, how did we do? Listen, I'm proud of you a lot. You know that. And I told somebody earlier, and I don't want to start crying here. I'm not going to do that.
Oh, I cried all yesterday. It's okay.
I felt your dad last night. Tough.
You want to know? You want to know where I felt him more was not in the match. It's when I put the headset on at Gorilla. That's where I felt him more than ever, and I actually think that would have been the thing that excited him the most, to see me with a pencil writing times and giving orders, even though they were tired of hearing orders at that point. So that was the thing I thought if he had been here, he would have thought this was really cool.
Yeah. He was the best producer I ever had because he laid out. He knew, he had me prepped before we ever stepped out there. And he was just, because I could read that handwriting, and I could interpret what he wanted. That's what you do when you collaborate, the collaborative effort, the creative process. You have to be in an environment where everybody can share and can contribute. But you've got to have that one final, yes, no, we're doing it this way. And that was Dusty. And he didn't do it in an abrasive way. You know, sometimes because he was a little bit of an outlaw, he'd kind of let things slide a little bit because he understood that you can't stifle the horses. So you just got to let those son of bitches run. So I felt him so strong there last night. And then I saw your mom today, and I felt it all over again. So that's what I preach about emotional investments. That's why I'll always say, I hope that all these cats like him can experience what I have, where you have made that total emotional investment into the business that you love and will love till I die, and you think that you can give a little something back. And that's how I look at this. All in is giving something back.
Folks, there's an old saying in our sport, to leave them wanting more. We have to wrap this up right now. How about a round of applause for Cody Rhodes, Jim Ross, Jan Ross, Dusty Rhodes, and pro wrestling. Folks, JR's going to be signing. There's cigars outside. Cody's signing. On behalf of everyone at the Fight Network, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Get home safely, everybody. Good night.